Can get a continuation here. Wow, Bitcoin, man. So there, dude.
And make sure that that's starting to increase as well, because in general the trend is
Yes,
that
money day gifts.
productivity growth is lower now than it was the pre-2000s. And so why is that? Well, right now it looks like it's because some companies are stuck on pause waiting for more clarity.
At the same time, Neela, we keep getting headlines like yesterday from CrowdStrike, the idea of layoffs pretty much across the board. This morning, Match Group cutting 13% of staff. There have been a
I'm
number of
thinking,
pockets like this where we
the
have seen some
shorts
job cuts, particularly in
might
the tech
actually
space,
be
but
back on,
others as well. How do you put those indicators, those
for
key
majors.
anecdotes, into some sort of broader theme that you can get your head around?
Well, first of all, we have to be like grown-ups about the labor market, I think. There are companies that will make decisions to change their way of operations, change their investments, and some of them will lead to layoffs. And so that's the reality of the labor market. What we'd like to see, though, is that this continues to stay in pockets. It's not spreading into other parts of the real economy. And right now it is in pockets, and tech is particularly sensitive to this because it's an industry that thrives again on productivity, on growth, on
Yes, I'm
making those
blessed, my
improvements,
bro.
on making those big investments, sometimes
Yeah, that
under
was
pressure.
positive for the dollar. You're right. I'm looking at DXY, right? If we just zoom out really quickly. So initially, when I said to you guys yesterday that I'm looking for yesterday's prior candle to actually print and make a new low, we didn't get that new low. Okay, now essentially, what pretty much happened is we had that Fed right news release, and as we know, a high impact news like that, we don't really know which way the market is going to sway. Okay, especially when it's got to do with sentiment and what the Fed says, etc., etc. And he was very neutral, but neutrality in uncertain time can be positive, right? So essentially, now that we've seen price reverse, now taking out yesterday's high, I'm still looking if this wants to head up higher, right? We didn't get a closure outside, okay, of that daily imbalance. We tested lower, but we didn't get a closure outside. So I'm just trying to see if we actually want to rally higher today or not, right? Because today and tomorrow we should realistically or ideally be getting continuations from yesterday's news. Okay, so I'm not looking for anything all that complicated, you know. We have a little half hour area there. We've got this H4 candle a little bit lower as well. So I'm trying to see what EU is going to do and try to take a trade from there. But we've been here for too long, man. For way too long. So I want to see what that does, and hopefully gold can also provide us with a little something as well. Interesting. All right, so we're pushing quite hard off of there. We've got a very nice displacement, a very energetic move higher. Okay, so far this is what I'm seeing. We could get a little continuation pattern going on here, right? With the Tokyo model as well. We've taken out Tokyo's low this morning. We pushed up. We got a low high, low low, high high, high low. Right, tested the extreme of that candle. We've now extended higher to give us a new high, taking out this lower high as well. So we could be in a continuation play here for EU, right? I really like the energy that this is pushing up with. So let's just say, for example, we anticipate entering this, putting the stop beneath the low. So that's going to give us about 15 pips, target the high. That's almost a 1 to 2. A little bit outside of the range is a 1 to 2. This is definitely counterintuitive, like it's going against the trend. The reason why I say it's going against the trend is because obviously if we look at intraday, we've been coming down, right? Low high, low low, low high, low low. You know, ideally we should get a low high somewhere here and then a new low low, right? It's just really ugly right now, man. The price action is really ugly, really tricky. Um, you know, I would rather have this sell off, but in terms of looking for a decent area to sell off from, there really isn't one, right? So we'll have to work and try to be as flexible as we can today. I reckon we may have to change our bias a couple of times because this chop has been pretty tough to deal with. Okay, so gold, there was a huge drop on gold. Huge drop on gold, right? Now, just flicking through the time zones or the time frame, shall I say, gold can still come down, you know. I still feel like gold can still drop lower. Gold can definitely still drop lower. You know, because realistically, right, last month was a very low risk month in terms of you actually taking trades, and even for myself, I decreased my risk tremendously across all accounts, right? Because it was just really tricky markets, right? You'd get a trade here and there, and boom, that would be it, right? So in terms of gold, you know, the only trade I've taken for gold, where was it? Was it one of these trades here? No, it wasn't this trade. It was I think it was a buy somewhere around here, right? That gave a little nice move. Like the thing is, higher time frame bullish, right? Higher time frame bullish. The daily is the only thing that's not giving strength, right? In terms of what it's doing. Right, if we look at the candles, the prior day's candle did close above that high, but it didn't take out any liquidity above. It didn't take out a high or a low. It still worked within this candle's high and low. Now, in terms of today we've taken out Tuesday's high. Okay, it's taken out Tuesday's high, also taken out yesterday's high. So now it's like cool. We've pulled back, and even when I look early doors, as in Tokyo session, when the day ended for Wednesday, right? Today when we opened, which is around midnight here, right? Even when we opened up here, we had a pullback lower first before we rallied for the high. Okay, so within that pull lower first before we rallied for the high, this is potentially telling me that this may be a continuation play higher. Okay, now it can be a little bit tricky, you know, when you look at these candles, you know, there's a lot of chop in there. You know, there is overall structure, right? An overall trend, but to find an intraday move is what's a little bit difficult right now, Okay, if you are looking at this from an overall macro perspective and taking higher time frame plays, don't get me wrong, it would have taken a while to play out, but they're still available, right? So for example, this GU short, if we shorted somewhere on Tuesday and we held, we would have taken out the low, right? And that would have been sufficient for, let's just see, let's say we took it at 50% of the imbalance, right? 50 pips. That would have been sufficient for a 1 to 2 trade. You know what I mean? And even when you look at GU, it took a while before it actually finally got there. Right? It took a while. The other thing that I will say is stock market has actually been providing far better moves than the FX and commodities, at least recently. And to be honest, I'm being pulled closer and closer and closer to trade the stock market. I don't really like trading the stock market, but I might have to, because higher time frame plays, they don't show up a lot. I thought, cool, there would be a potential between looking at EU and gold, and we'll be able to find a potential move from there. But EU and gold haven't really been providing much. So right now, let's just see on the H4, we're getting a little test, right, out of that H4 candle. I want to see some displacement. If we're really gonna push, right, this pull down that we had, I want to see us explode past it, right? And if we can play this as a breaker, I would like that a lot, right? If we play this area as a breaker and we get imbalance forming inside of the same area or inside the same level, I would like to go short on EU, right? I know I've got a long position set up right now, but we're just trying to see whether we are onside, offside, onside or offside, essentially. Yeah. So let me just load up the MTs. One more to load up. Ooh, did you guys hear that? I don't know if you guys heard that, but apparently Trump is speaking in an hour and 15 minutes. That's key. Bloomberg coming in useful for once. Hold on. Trump speaking? Let me check Forex Factory really quickly.
And the FAA will announce a plan to overhaul the U.S. air traffic control system later today. Transportation
Yeah, Trump speaking at 3 p.m. today. Oh my days. Trump, give us a break, man. I just want to see just decent market conditions, man. There's all this talks of flipping, tariffs and this and that, and it's stopping, oh, bro, honestly. This drop on gold, yeah, over Tokyo is insane. I think this is the largest drop I've seen over Tokyo recently. That's almost 10,000 pips. Yeah, madness. All right, so we've got about an hour and 50 minutes till Trump speaks. I'm gonna start to see if I'm onside or offside with EU. Again, massively decreasing the risk. This is not anything to kill yourselves over. Need a bit of volume. Hopefully that will do it. I feel like maybe today, whatever Trump says, is gonna give us more of a defining. Maybe we might leave this range, you know, because when we look at it from a swing perspective, you know, key detail there from a swing perspective, right? And I look at this low to high, yeah. So let me go from 4 hour, get out the fib, right? We've hit essentially. We've hit the key sweet spots, right? We've hit the 71%, the 78% retracement, right? And we've had a really huge, well, not huge, but an energetic extension out. We've had one more test of the 50%, and we've had another leg higher. So realistically, this should give us another leg higher. I'm not gonna lie, it should. It should be giving us another leg higher. It should be giving us another leg higher. Right, if this low to high and we've had a higher low retracement, then we should at some point see the minus 14%. We should see dollar, you know, reach 100.5 at some point.
Some are really, really good, but as we strive for the great ones, sometimes those really, really good ones have to be left behind.
If this play that I'm looking for on EU can play out, I think we've got a decent trade. Like this would be my first serious trade of the week. I know it's Thursday and I'm only now taking a, a serious trade now. Can you imagine? So I want to see what we do here. What do we do here? This 4 hour picture looks pretty bullish. If we can get an energetic push higher and a pullback, that'd be cool.
Welcome back to the opening trade.
This is Bloomberg Technology.
This is the Asia trade.
This is Wall Street Week. Welcome to Balance of Power.
This is Bloomberg Television. Earnings season is here.
I know it's like your Super Bowl, right?
Okay.
It's like opening presents in the morning.
It will be
Nice push.
Nobody covers earnings like Bloomberg.
Bitcoin near 100k again. I know, right, bro? How many times is Bitcoin gonna touch 100k? You know what I mean?
The opening bounce 38 minutes away and equities are positive by 0.8% on the S&P 500. On the Nasdaq, up by 1.2. With your movers coming to cash open. Here's Danny Berger. Hey, Danny.
Hey, John, some more earnings from you. We heard from Match Group. The thing
Okay. So far, whoops. So far, I think we've got a little bit of a picture forming here. We've got a bit of a picture forming. 5 pips, 15, 16.
We also got earnings this morning from Peloton trading to the downside. It also has a new CEO, also trying to engineer a turnaround.
Okay.
3 straight quarters of losses. Those shares down 8%.
2.
Noted that it would face a tariff of 25% on the aluminum in its parts. Finally, here's something you don't hear often from consumer discretionary companies: a beat and a raise to the outlook for Tapestry. Really strong results.
32.
Up 13%.
Where's the low? The low's here.
Much exposure at all to tariffs.
Okay.
Also noting that of the things it imports, only about 3% come from China. So those shares up 9%.
R&R is not great, man.
This morning, 3 names to watch into the opening bounce.
R&R is not great.
Into the weekend and into next week. At 10 a.m. Eastern Time, you will hear from the President of the United States making a trade announcement in the Oval Office. Into the weekend.
Oh, it's a trade announcement as well, guys. That's huge.
Into next week, CPI data on Tuesday, plus the President heading to Riyadh for the first stop of his Middle East trip. On Thursday, PPI retail sales and another round of claims, plus earnings from Walmart. Big earnings report from them coming right up. As we look ahead to 10 a.m. Eastern Time, joining us now from the White House is Anne-Marie. Anne-Marie, what can we expect? What are we looking for in 1 hour's time?
Well, what we look for when it comes to this U.S.-UK trade agreement is the start of a more fuller negotiation for a trade pact. 2 key items. One, when it comes to UK imports coming into the United States, UK has been pushing for that 25% tariff level on steel, aluminum, and cars, that to be reduced. Likely we're going to see that. And then when it comes to U.S. products going into the UK, like agricultural sector, maybe cars as well, a key focus for this administration. Potentially you would see the UK also drop those tariff rates. as well as something that has been a thorn of the side of big tech companies for years, the digital services tax. We should note this is the first of an agreement that the president has been talking about. It's a big one for him. We should, though, say when it comes to the UK and the US, Jonathan, been saying all morning, trade is relatively balanced between these two countries. Actually, the UK has more imports into the United States. So I would say that this is one of the more easy
Bitcoin, man, so high, so high.
when it comes to things like the European Union or China. It's gonna be a lot harder.
Anne-Marie, you run away. You try
Bitcoin is
to
really heading up.
some questions. Anne-Marie, thank you.
I'll be there.
We're not getting no liquidity grabs, nothing. I mean, let's see what Trump says. I mean, depending on what Trump says today, Bitcoin might fly or dump. You know what I mean?
And getting a sense of exactly what the contours of this will be. What we're hearing from CNN is that 10% baseline tariff is going to be remaining in place. And the Financial Times saying that will have to do with steel and auto exports from the UK and what kind of tariffs could be on those. I wonder how open this suggests the administration would be, if this is true, to potentially lowering them on a more across-the-board basis, or whether this is going to be one of the chips used to possibly get a deal on the other side for other people too on a case-by-case basis.
It's been a busy morning, hasn't it?
Indeed.
More still to come. The Oval Office address, about 1 hour and 5 minutes away, a press conference with the President of the United States on a trade agreement, whatever that looks like, between the United States and the UK. Coming up tomorrow to react, Max Kettner of HSBC, Alex Altman of Barclays, Alicia Levine of BNY Wealth, and Tiffany Weldig of PIMCO. From New York, thank you for choosing Bloomberg TV. This was Bloomberg Surveillance.
Yeah, altcoins ain't doing much, gifts, man.
Welcome back to a special Italian Open update for Bloomberg TV and radio from
Is this a negotiation or the new rules of the game?
It could be either.
It is up to the president how he wants to negotiate.
The higher the tariff, the faster they come.
A 90-day pause is not an eradication.
The trade negotiations are moving quickly.
There will be deals cut.
Trust Bloomberg for all the context and clarity you need as the tariff and global economy story.
I do want to take some trades, man, but
Very quickly.
at the same time, if there's anything that I do know is just managing your risk, man. Just have to manage your risk, manage your appetite, manage your exposure.
And in fact, you opened the season going to.
I want to take this short on EU.
So do you expect to do more overseas games? And is that
16 pip stop.
It is. We had 5 last year. We expect to have 8 this year, which will be the highest we've ever had. Our hope would be at some stage to get to 16 games in the next few years. We think we can do that. I think it's an indication of the popularity of our game. Every time we take our game to a new market, Brazil's a great example of it, the fans go crazy for it. They sold out the tickets in less than 90 minutes. People had a wonderful time. It was the talk of the town. And I think it will be the basis and the sort of the match that lights and the popularity of the game in that market, as well as what we're doing around the world. So we're very excited by it. It's just one element of that strategy. You need to have television. You need to have activity and participation in the sport, and flag football is a big part of that. So all of those factors, I think, are going to be what we think will be a very successful formula to be a global sport.
Do you ever envision having?
Well, about 32 minutes left.
Or in London?
Listen, we've talked an awful lot about it, and I think.
Yes, money day, everyone that's on the stream right now. Money day, money day. Hello, hello, hello. How you guys doing? Hopefully you're well.
All right, let's cut right to it. This is Bloomberg's new show, Primer.
To think Trump really just dropped market just to recover it straight away. Insane. Insane, guys.
My life has been focused on how can you elicit intelligence from brain cells in a dish.
This is the fundamental building block of our fusion technology.
We're doing things that have never been done by anybody, ever.
Everyone is selling the future. If you want to understand what's coming, you'll want to watch Primer, because details.
Gift says, bro, was trading during COVID times as crazy as this? No. I'll be honest, at the time, it did seem like it was crazy, but trading during COVID was one of, now looking back, was one of the easiest times to be a beginner in the market. Why do I say that? 2020, what was everything doing? It was just crashing, right? 2020, everything was just crashing and it was only going one direction. Where is it? Where's COVID? 24, what's COVID? What's COVID? Yeah, I think this was COVID, right? So the dollar was crashing, so we saw a rally in EU. Look, it was just one straight buy, right? Then we reached the highs and then we crashed down. So if you look at the dollar and we go to so that's 2020. That's when the pandemic first started. Obviously, we had a doji candle, but then what did the dollar do? It just crashed, right? It just crashed. So anything against the dollar just went in one direction, right? Where is it? 2020. Here. We had a big buy, and then the dollar started to recover. And look at this. These are monthly candles, right? And most of these are just bullish candles. So all we had to do was realistically just sell the majors, sell the majors, sell the majors, sell the majors, sell the majors. That's all you had to do. Like it wasn't as complicated as what it is today. You know what I mean? Pardon me, guys. What's going on? My alert, was it DXY? Okay.
And the big story of the morning, the US and UK have reached a trade agreement, but President Trump is offering little detail. He's calling it comprehensive. We'll hear from him a little
This
later.
is US and UK has reached an agreement. Okay.
We're going to put very fair numbers down, and we're going to say, here's what this country
Let's have a listen.
want, and congratulations, we have a deal. And they'll either say, great, and they'll start shopping, or they'll say, not good.
Here with more from the White House, Bloomberg's Tyler Kendall. On one hand, you have the announcement from the White House that we are anticipating with the UK. On the other hand, you have the EU threatening more retaliatory tariffs. Net, how convincing are the negotiations that you're seeing cut through Europe?
Yeah, hey, Shanali. Well, if you'll recall that when Keir Starmer actually visited the White House back in February, President Trump openly said that he prefers to negotiate with London over Brussels, and perhaps that personal relationship is what helped spur this announcement we're expecting today. But also keep in mind that the UK and the United States have a broadly balanced trade relationship. That's why the United Kingdom was hit with that 10% levy on so-called Liberation Day, really considered to be the floor, the bottom of those rates. But at the same time, the United Kingdom, of course, also has a VAT as well as a digital services tax that this White House really doesn't like. But our reporting indicates that potentially...
Gift, would you say how I wish I was trading then, but that time was the busiest for me? Work from home was busier than ever. Yup. That was the height of it, man. The peak of it. And to be honest, like 2020 is such a black swan event. Like don't get me wrong, there will be another 2020, but do I think it's going to do the things that COVID did? I don't know, unless there's another pandemic, which, God forbid there isn't one. But I'll be real, guys, like it was so easy, that was the time when cryptos, you just bought anything, just buy anything. Where is it? Where's 2020? Yeah, just buy anything. Had that huge rally up, don't forget. There was the stimulus checks, right? The liquidity injections. People were getting paid to stay at home, so there was such an influx of money in all economies around the world. But then that also devalued the fiat currencies. And obviously, what did people do with all the stimulus checks? They bought stuff. Do you know what I mean? So when people bought stuff, it went back into the hands of the rich, because the rich are the only one that are providing the services or product, right? And then what else happened? The market caps for all cryptos pretty much exploded. Why? Because there's just more liquidity in the market. And right now, I don't know if if world leaders are gonna do that again, I just don't think they will. I think it's really tricky to try to anticipate a black swan event. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because when you think about it, in terms of, let's just say, it's too difficult to be honest. I don't have much to say, guys, man. It's just too difficult to guess when the next black swan event is gonna be. It's really, really, really hard. It's really, really, because money or fiat currencies can only go so high. It can only inflate so high. So I don't think they will ever do another stimulus injection unless if maybe fiat currencies change around the world into a completely new system. Then maybe they might be able to, you know, sometimes we think about it, it's also the reason why Trump is trying to refinance US debt, because it's just out of control, right? The debt bubble is growing larger. It's difficult. It's really, really tough. But one thing I will say is you don't need to wait for a black swan event. You can literally just, with whatever you have, buy small over a period of time. That's all you have to do. Just buy small over a period of time. As time goes on, you buy some more, 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 buy some more. You know? Don't invest for the short term. Let's see. Honestly, COVID, to be honest, like, yo, honestly, it's one of those times, yeah, where you're gonna talk about it with your kids, with your grandkids. You're gonna talk about COVID, what happened during COVID. You know, it's actually such a strange period of time in human history. Like, what do you mean we couldn't go outside and socialize? What do you mean we had curfew? Like, it's crazy. It's actually crazy. Like, we've actually lived through such a key part of human history. I don't think we've ever had something like that. Like, it shook the very foundations of our society. Okay. What is going on with EU right now? We're gonna get a trade today, man. We're gonna get a trade today. I'll let you guys know when one of these setups that I'm marking out is a trade to go for. Right? But right now, I'm just seeing if I'm onside, offside. I'm testing some setups, seeing how market is reacting to them, seeing if we're getting price play into the setup before we get the trade, etc., etc. You know, right now, we just, again, just risk. Just manage your risk and your exposure. Trump speaking, man. It's gonna be crazy. Gift says I was involved in a massive NHS project then. It was stressful them times. Oh, mate. Oh, and don't forget, bro, about the loans, the business loans that the government was just giving out to people. You know, what was it, like 20K? Was it 10 to 20K business loans? And it's like you didn't really even, I think at the time you didn't have to show a lot of statements to get those loans approved. Like, yo, it was actually such a crazy time to live through, you know. Right? I know some people that took out those business loans, bought crypto. When crypto pumped, they sold their crypto, paid off their loan, and now they're keeping the money. Like, it just goes to show, like, your opportunity, your liquidity injection, your big money is coming at any given moment. You just have to keep going. It's coming for all of you. It is coming. Trust me. It is coming, guys. You guys are all gonna notice something. Maybe gold at, like, you know, for example, I talked to you guys about, you know, going to the buying gold via the Royal Mint, right? Just buy some physical gold, right? You know, gold's gone up a lot. Gold's done almost 100%. You know, almost 100%. Did you do anything crazy? No, not really. There's so many different vehicles that you can choose. You know, if you've got 5 grand, 10 grand in your savings, why is it in your savings account? That's all what I would say. You know, obviously have some money aside for emergencies, but I don't think you need more than. I mean, okay, it depends on your lifestyle, but I don't think you need more than 10K for emergencies, right? Let's just say even if you're tighter, let's say even 5, 6K for emergencies. I don't think you need more than that. The rest, just buy gold, man. Just do something. Look at gold. Just look at this chart. It's ridiculous. Look at this chart. And gold, guess what? It's just gonna keep going up and up and up and up and up and up. Why is it gonna keep going up and up and up and up? Because it's gold. You can go anywhere around the world with gold, man. Gold's never gonna stop losing its value, especially when fiat currencies, right, keep dropping in value. What's gonna happen with gold? Especially when there's this massive inflation, you know, going on around the world. What's gonna happen with gold? Gold's gonna go up, right? The overinflated prices of stocks, right? When this potentially blows down and starts tanking, what's gold gonna do? It's gonna go up. I saw somewhere that we need to start buying silver. Apparently, it will rocket soon. Yeah, gold, silver, all of it. All of it. I'm telling you, gold, silver, all of it. Any of the above, any commodity, you know? Like there's ways out, guys. There are ways out, but you just need to stop being so one-dimensional. And, for a lot of you, that may be buying funded accounts, for example, but you're not ready for funded accounts. Right? Maybe there's a little slight difficulty in your edge. You don't really have a trading plan. You don't have a model that you follow on a consistent basis. So how are you supposed to pass these funded accounts? Maybe you might think I might wing it, full blown margin on this trade, see what it does. And don't get me wrong, it's 50-50. Sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't work. Right? But once you get funded, do you make to the payout, whatnot? Like, there's a lot of variables involved. And I'm telling you, like, guys, find yourself a mentor. B, whatever it is, right? Find yourself a mentor, learn a model, learn a strategy, stick with that strategy. Have your own model behind that strategy that you just look for day in, day out, right? That's why I created the online course with 5 models that you can follow. All you have to do is just pick one of those models and follow them. And then the next one is diversify. Diversify, guys. Don't just trade it. Don't just prop firm it, right? Maybe you can trade it, have a little money in a live account, boom boom boom, try and do a thing there. And then on the other end, just keep steadily buying some crypto, steadily buy some gold, right? If you go to the Royal Mint and you buy gold from there, you don't pay any taxes on it. Who we got in the chat right now? We have Tim. Tim, how you doing, Tim? I think it was the first time I'm seeing you here. Tim said, I need mentoring 100%. Thought I had it, but then clearly not. What do you mean by you thought you had it? As in, you thought you had mentoring or not? I know what to do, but just don't do it, lol. Okay, so that sounds like a psychology thing, Tim. I'm good, bro. Been here before. Okay. Maybe this is your first time messaging in the chat. Thought you had your strategy down. Yeah, like, for example, yeah, if I were to ask you, Tim, yeah, what is your model? Like, if someone asks you what's your model, what do you look for exactly, word for word? Like, what? How would you explain that? Can you type that out to me right now in the chat? What is your model that you look for to take a trade in your ideal market conditions? What's happening, Aaron? How you doing, broski? You good? If I were to ask anyone, what's your model that you look for to take trades from, everyone should be able to tell me. And if you're not able to tell me, that's fine, right? That's totally fine if you can't tell me. Then that just means you have something that you need to go back and improve on. So Aaron says LQ sweeps. Okay, that's very vague, bro. Like, what else? Like LQ sweeps. How do you find your entry? So you look for LQ sweeps. So what? Are you reverse trading the LQ sweeps, the liquidity sweeps, or are you using a continuation trade once there's a liquidity sweep? You know what I mean? I wonder what Trump's gonna say today, man. Supposedly, Keir Starmer's doing his job. Ha ha ha. Let's see. Tim says supply and demand strategy, top-down analysis, find area IMOF interest, drop to lower time frame for entry model, always trade with the trend. Supply and demand strategy, top-down. Yeah, that sounds pretty solid, Tim. That sounds pretty solid. Supply and demand, top-down. Yeah, that checks out, bro. That checks out. Okay, so you've definitely got a model. You've definitely got a model there. Aaron says daily highs or lows been taken out. Okay, cool, bro. Bit more to it, but basically that's it. Okay, I got you. I got you. I reckon what you should do, that will help you out. Tim says I was on the APG course as I mentioned. Okay. Mark says what's top-down analysis? Mark, I swear you always ask me a random question at random times. But top-down analysis, yeah, bro, is essentially what I do with you guys, or I send to you guys at the start of the week, yeah? So top-down analysis, let's say it's a Sunday or it's a Monday, I'm always going to look at the prior week's candle, right? So we're working from a higher time frame down to lower time frames to find your entry. Okay, that's what top-down analysis is. Whenever you are looking for a trade, you need to identify what your bias is. You need to identify where you're looking for an entry, and also identify, what's the word I'm looking for? You need to have parameters, essentially. You need to have a reason as to why you think price is going to go to a certain target, right? And for this week, I told you guys about the lows, right? And why did I tell you guys about the lows? Or why was I looking at the lows of EU this week, right? And the main thing was 2 weeks ago, okay? So Monday, 25th of April, this wick is like, it stood out to me, right? This wick here stood out to me as we attempted to rally higher, but we eventually went down low and then we closed the bearish candle. We took out 2 prior weeks liquidity, so 2 prior weeks high, right? And with that closure, then now I know for this week here, starting 28th of April, I know we're working, the range is last week's low and high. Now with this wick here, what are the probabilities of us heading higher, right? I think from just looking at the weekly candle without going down, it's lower that we're actually going to run for those highs. We're probably going to run for the lows of last week. When I head to the daily time frame and we look at, where's Friday? Friday closed here, right? What did we have here? We had a little bit of imbalance inside of here, right? We had a test, so this is the high of that week, and then we made the low of the week, taking out the prior week's low. So when it came down to this week and I was looking at what last week done, I now know I'm just going to apply the exact same thing again. I'm working with the prior week's low to high. When I look at this, what do I see when I go to the daily time frame? So Friday is here. This is where we close on Friday. We had a test inside this daily imbalance here, right? And then we had a rejection lower. I thought, potentially Monday, Tuesday, we'll get a rally, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday will stretch lower. Don't get me wrong, sometimes you're gonna, have certain areas, market's gonna do what it wants to do at the end of the day. We went up Monday, stayed Tuesday, stayed Wednesday, and now we've dropped. So potentially what I'm looking at and understanding is today, right? I'm working with the range of yesterday, daily candle, low to high. I want to see us actually drop lower and take out last week's low. Okay, which is, the reason for looking for potential shorts right now. So that there, Mark, is an example of top-down analysis, right? You're looking at the higher time frame to gain a better understanding of what's going to happen in the lower time frame, because the higher time frame moves the lower time frame, right? The 1 hour is moved by the 4 hour, 4 hours moved by the daily, daily is moved by the weekly, right? These are all price action, but just more condensed on the higher time frame. There's less noise, right? So all you need to do is understand or have higher time frame targets, right? I know I make it sound simple, and no, it's not that simple. Trading is not simple. Trading is not an easy thing to do. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it. Okay, so don't beat yourself up so much if you're finding difficulties. If you're having difficulties, guess what? You're human. It's meant to be hard, right? If it's not hard, then you're A, doing something really right, or you're going through a lucky win streak. Eventually, markets will humble you and bring you back down to reality. Okay, so right now, this is one of the reasons why I'm, I wouldn't say adamant, but still looking for shorts on EU, even though yesterday there was a little long play here, right? We did look like we would head higher, but then we held the session. Then we started to drop off during the FOMC speech. Sorry, the Fed speech, right? We dropped. And then Tokyo session, we made a high, then we dropped again. So this is a range, right? Low to high. It's a range. There's, we're chopping inside and out. So finding an exact trend is going to be a little bit difficult, but nonetheless, you just got to stick with it. Mark, like I said, I don't know if you've been keeping up to date with the Discord, yeah, Mark. I did say that there is the option for the online course, which is a much cheaper option than the one-to-ones that I have available. It's available via WhatsApp, so you can watch it anytime and anywhere you're at. Maybe that's something that will be a little bit more feasible for you. So if that makes sense, just send me a message on Discord or Telegram. Gift says mine is the same like Tim's, market structure and balance, etc. Lately been scalping a lot though. Yeah. When we're in ranges, scalping is gonna give you a little bit more. It's gonna give you a little bit more of a. What's the word I'm looking for? It's gonna give you a little bit more. It's gonna give you a better time in the market, right? Because when you're having swings or trading ranges or swing high to swing low, right? Or you're looking for old highs and old lows. During conditions like this, where it's chopping a lot, right? For example, Tuesday, I had this little setup going on for EU, right? Where is it? Yeah, it's here, right? So initially, I was eyeing up the short, right? And then the short flipped into a buy because we created this new high. We had a test of this 5-minute candle, and then, right, there was a small scalp here on, was it the M2 or the M1? Looks like the M1, right? So after I saw that push up there, this was the scalp. A little test of this M1 candle to go long, take out that high. Just like that, you're in and you're out, right? If I were to have taken, let's just say, this 5-minute candle trade for a long, and I'm targeting this daily high, we didn't get there. Did we get there? Okay, we got there. Equal highs, right? We made some equal highs there. Whoops. So scalping, if you have the mental capacity to scalp, then go for it. You know what I mean? Tim says we need Biden back, lol. Marcus was easy then. Yeah, Biden weren't doing nothing to the economy, man. It's either if the economy was doing bad, it was slowly doing bad. So it's like you could get in. Aaron says, are you bullish for GU and these trade talks? Ooh. Okay, so for GU, let's see. So for GU on the daily, the thing is, right, because of these trade talks that pretty much Trump has basically just fabricated, right? All this turbulence that we're experiencing, Trump has simply just fabricated, right? The only thing that's different from EU and GU is GU has already met its weekly target, right? Which was from this imbalance over here, right? So with GU already taking out that low, I'm more on sitting on the back end. Like I'm more on just chilling out to see what the picture is going to be up next. Guys, if you're watching the stream, don't forget to leave a like on the stream. It does help with the algorithms. Now, okay, so it's tricky. We want to see what Trump is going to say about the deal with the UK, because that's ultimately going to affect GU. Do you know what I mean? We're going to see, hopefully we see a big move. You know, big moves are good. Right now, EU has been holding this half-hour imbalance. It's been bouncing up and down. Is it great price action still? No, it is not. Right, even when I look at the Tokyo model this week, we haven't really had an opportunity to use a Tokyo model this week. No, we haven't. Yeah, Tokyo model hasn't been available this week. Okay, last Thursday there was opportunity there. No, there's opportunity to go long here and then here. So yeah, if you're not finding loads of trades, just it's not the end of the world, trust me. It's not the end of the world. Dollar looks like it is gonna head down lower. Let me set some alerts for that. Let's see, eh? Alright, so we're 4 minutes, no, 3 minutes away from the stock open. Mark says, yeah, bro, have a look and let you know. Alright, cool. Tim says, more opportunities. Yep, that's the exact word, Tim. Thank you for the assist. Tim coming through with the alley-oop. Alright. So right now, let's just see how we do. Okay. I'm gonna turn up Bloomberg a little bit. Let's just have a little wee listen. We're a couple of minutes out from stock open, so let's just wait for that.
Are you worried about your orders because of what's going on in Russia and Ukraine? Is that something you worry about in terms of the impact of Russia, Ukraine on your investment appetite for things like that?
I'm not worried about Russia invading Norway anytime soon. We are a member of NATO. We do border to Russia, but now, since Finland and Sweden joined NATO, we feel stronger than before.
So
Tim says, someone else that listens to Bloomberg learn a lot from listening. Yeah, you do, you know, especially when some of the analysts speak. You listen to what their perspectives are, you know, because there's always someone with more experience than you. There's always someone with more time spent in the market than you. There's always someone better than you, you know. There's always someone better looking than you. There's always someone taller than you. There's always someone shorter than you. You know, there's always someone that's better than whatever you think you are better at, right? So it's always good to listen.
That the investors suddenly decide, you know what, we want.
You know, if you guys come and you tell me something, I will take a look at it. If I remember, was it Aaron? No, it wasn't Aaron. No, I think it was Aaron.
Then of course,
was it Aaron? Someone said something about the ORB, the orb. Was it Aaron or was it Jason? No, it was Jason. You know, he was talking about the orb.
happens is the unexpected.
And it's like, yeah, bro, take it away. Show me what this orb strategy is. You know, it might not resonate with me, but it might help one of you. You know what I mean? One of you might look at the ORB strategy and think that resonates with you guys very well, so you try it out and then you find success with it. Because at the end of the day, you know, it's about sharing information. Does the orb work? From what Jason tells me, yes. Or from what Jason showed me, yes. You know, for me, I think your strategy is irrelevant, right? It's not so much about your strategy; it's about managing your exposure, your risk, and your execution. That's what I think are the most important things, right? You can trade support and resistance and still make a whole load of money. You can trade trend lines and make a whole lot of money. So whatever you lot trade, you know, supply and demand, SMT, what is it, Wyckoff, Bollinger Bands, the 50 EMA, whatever it is, there's so many strategies. Whatever it is, the strategy is not the actual key here. It's about yourself, right? It's about finding something that resonates with you. And if you like the strategy and you've seen success with the strategy, then you just have to stick with it. That's it, right? Understand that. Let's say, for example, I'll tell you something recently that I've noticed about markets. Yeah. So a lot of you guys will remember, right? Prior to April, right? Prior to April, you guys would come on this stream, I'll snipe gold. Every single damn stream. You'd come on here, I'll snipe gold. Find a trade on gold, boom, 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 money day. Right? Especially last year, November, December, and January, I'll be sniping gold left, right, and center. Now the gold trades have slowed down, right? And why has the gold trade slowed down? It's not that, you know, I've somehow lost my edge. It's just because gold is behaving irregularly. Gold is behaving, you know, you look at the Tokyo ranges for gold alone. You know, we're getting huge Tokyo ranges. That doesn't usually happen, right? During normal, regular market conditions, if you look over here, what time is this? Right? Look, this here is pretty regular gold ranges, you know? Little regular gold range here, regular range here, regular range here, regular range here, regular range here. Then we had a huge one here, right? Trump probably caused that. Then we had a regular range. So it's like, cool, we can work with this, right? We can work with this. But now it's like, okay, cool. I'm now seeing through actually taking positions and losing trades, like, okay, cool. I'm gonna have to stop or step away from the lower time frames and look at gold from a higher time frame and only execute on gold when I see something really nice, right? And you know, from last week, I remember we had a really nice short inside of here. Obviously, you know, we can see it turned around now, but at the time we were in very nice profits. I think it was like over 350 pips of profit, right? I wanted to see us take out that low, and it looked good to take out that low, and then we reversed next week, which was fine, right? But there's a lot of chop. Obviously the India-Pakistan war that they're having. I tried to watch what the hell they were arguing about, but a lot of it just didn't make sense to me. I tried to know what's going on around the world economically, but it just wasn't making a lot of sense to me. India supposedly doesn't have the resources to fight with Pakistan. Supposedly Russia is backing Pakistan or something like that. So there's a lot going on. You could wake up, take a trade today, think you're good, go sleep, wake up in the morning, boom, SL. You know what I mean? It doesn't even matter whether you're buying or selling gold. Let's say, for example, you bought gold here, right? You held a trade into the next day, right? You're thinking, oh yeah, this should now rally for all-time highs, right? Because once we had price take out that low, I remember we were looking for buys here. You can even see a little buy set up here, right? Cool, we had a little high-low formation. We're looking for a high and for it to continue. Look, Tokyo session comes, boom, slap down. And it's like, you know what, gold, I'm going to leave you alone until I see something that looks really nice. And for yesterday, or we look at this week, right? Monday, since we had that Tokyo range pump, Monday just pure strength. If you just bought gold just for buying gold, you would have made money. But in terms of technicals, there was nothing in here that suited my strategy, right? Then we worked ourselves into Tuesday. Tuesday, there was a buy on Tuesday. I have to hold my hands up for Tuesday. There was a small buy here on Tuesday that I did not execute on. Right. Then came that gap. Boom, boom, boom. Then we bounced between range low to high, range low to high. Broke the low, broke the high, and then we drop again. It's like, go. You gotta chill with me, man. You gotta chill with me. So, an ICT trader sees FEG, I see demand or supply, etc. Exactly, Tim. Asia doing 1,000 pip moves. Like, don't get me wrong, gold can give you a lot of pips. You know, that's why a lot of us love trading gold. But Asia is consistently doing 1,000 pips. You know, Asia's consistently giving very, very high pip counts. You know, it's crazy.
You've seen conservative and small business groups come
Look,
out
gold's trending up, right, this whole time. What's the dollar done? Barely anything. Right? There's a lot of irregularities in markets right now. You just got to take what you can. And Gift, you're alright. Hence why I've been scalping, bro, because it's been treacherous. Yeah, that's true. That's why you just got to get in, get out. Smash and grab conditions.
Does this administration have checks and balances, the type we're used to in the United States of America?
Or at least enough to keep the market calm.
Even for GU, when I look at GU, we'll have to see, man. GU could probably rally for the low again, or drop for the lows again. But I'm not Russian.
You know, I'm an immigrant into this country, and that's one of the things where I really do admire. So I do think the checks and balances do exist.
Market is waiting for Trump, man. You can just tell. It's waiting for Trump.
For them to come in place. People like Besant, I think, is more of a tempering in terms of making sure that there's the voice of rationality. So in terms of our deficits, it is one area where we are concerned about. And as we look at our forward expectation for rates, you know, it's something that we think, you know, really, you know, does need to come into play in the United States is, you know, the fact that we do have this significant deficit. And those Doge cuts are coming in, but they're coming in much smaller than we were anticipating, or the market was anticipating.
All right, Katrina, it's been great having you on the program, and you've been right so far. So we're going to continue to watch your calls and this progress. Franklin Templeton's Katrina Dudley. Shanali, let's get a look at some of the stocks that are moving in the market right now.
Yeah, let's bring in Bloomberg's Isabel Lee, because a lot is moving under the surface.
We're looking at Molson Coors. We have the stock falling by 8%. That's the most intraday since 2024 April. So the company lowered
Give me a
its
second,
full-year
guys.
guidance amid a challenging consumer environment. So they previously said that the profit would rise in high single digits, and now they're estimating it would decrease in low single digits. The same goes with the decline in sales. They also expect low single digits, lowering their previous guidance. We have Barclays saying the significant miss in top and bottom line, along with a full guidance cut, will come as a real surprise to markets. Up next is Shopify. So this also is a stock that you see is seeing some pressure today. We see sales in the current quarter just meeting expectations. So again, that emphasizes how tariffs are really impacting the market going forward, because analysts were expecting a growth of 23%. Investors are really struggling to determine how the trade war will affect Shopify. This stands in contrast with Tapestry. So that's a handbag maker. We have Tapestry saying that tariffs are expected to have just an immaterial impact. In fact, they raised their annual outlook to a gain again. So they say that their analysts estimate its exposure to China to just be in the single digits. And last, we have ARM Holdings. This also is a stock that's seeing some pressure today. It's down by almost 7%. They gave a disappointing sales forecast, raising concerns about the slowdown in the chip industry. So revenue will be $1 billion to $1.5 billion. Wall Street estimated a number at the higher end of that range. So profit estimates were also lowered, and the company blamed the forecast on timing of new arrangements. We have price targets lowered by HSBC, KeyBank, Raymond James, and others. Back to you guys.
Interesting, because Shopify in particular, Matt, the tagline is sell locally and globally. So you would think it would be some sort of beneficiary in the middle of all this, but the fact that it's not, I think, says a lot.
Is it a Canadian company? Shopify, I believe, is a Canadian company.
It is.
All right. Yeah, a lot of interesting undercurrents there for sure. Interesting to see Tapestry gain, right? The maker of, like, what, Coach, Kate Spade, all of these kind of aspirational handbag
Very
brands.
impressed that you know this.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I've studied up. Isabel Lee, pleasure to have you on the program. Coming up, the EV race is getting a new, affordable entrant. We speak to Chris Barman, the CEO of Slate Auto, next. This is Bloomberg Open Interest.
All right, ladies and gents. So gold right now, we've got a slight continuation model forming. Obviously, it's a bit dangerous because we're 20 minutes from Trump doing his madness. But we have a 5-minute candle here that can give us a move higher. Right. Got a little small move here with a bit of potential. If I look at this range, high to low, Tokyo's range, see if we come to 50%. Oh, okay, so we've reached 50% of the range already. That definitely decreases the probabilities.
People getting it is higher than it was 20 or 30 or 40 years ago.
I still don't think it's a bad move, though.
It's better than it used to be.
All right, so the dirty secret is we have no idea. We don't collect data.
There's not much, but I'm gonna take this little. Just look at the chop on EU right now. Look at the chop. We're waiting for main man Trump.
But we are seeing younger people more.
But I don't think this is a bad setup by any stretch of the imagination.
That we never used to see.
What do you think could possibly be the cause? I assume pollution or the environment in some ways.
Let's say we've got about, what is it, 62? Let's give it 65 pips.
It's ultra processed foods. It's microplastics. It's changes in the microbiome. We really don't know.
Tim says, I expected GU to drop with our interest rates dropping and the dollar gaining a little strength. Yeah, let's see if that does happen, Tim. Tim says, good to see you're still grinding, Gift. Tim, it's all because of this community, a lot of support here. I appreciate you guys, man. Appreciate you guys. I need to get in the Discord. Yeah, the link to the Discord's in the description box, Tim, if you want to join. You can just click the link in the description and then just jump back into the stream.
Bringing you up-to-the-minute geopolitical news whenever and wherever it happens. I'm David Gura in Ottawa, Canada, and this is Bloomberg.
I'm looking at this little continuation. I think I would like to take part in this, you know.
The market news, data, and analysis you need live every week.
I think we're in very dangerous territories for gold, but I'm gonna play this setup. I'm just gonna put a little limit on here.
Expert hosts have the data and analysis from the companies you know
cool.
and the startups to watch, plus the
Stop.
interviews you don't want to miss. Watch Caroline Hyde and Ed Ludlow on Bloomberg Technology, the only daily business show dedicated to tech, right in the middle of the trading action. Live every weekday, only on Bloomberg Television. Context changes everything.
And this is Bloomberg Open Interest. We're going to take a quick check on stocks because, of course, we are up on the day. We have the S&P 500 flying about 0.6%. NASDAQ 100 more so, almost 1% higher. Even the small caps, Russell 2000 up about 0.9%. Green on the screen ahead of that big announcement from President Trump in regard to the UK trade agreements.
I think gold is bullish overall, but the news and confusion making it a bit choppy right now. Yeah. EU's coming down, and slowly but surely. Getting a bit of volume here on the dollar. Just a little bit, a tiny bit. But yeah, I'm looking at this. Did we open? Yeah, we've been open for a while. Sorry. Pre-market.
To a buy at President Capital Management. The company raised its outlook for the full year and announced a plan to build a new Disneyland theme park in Abu Dhabi, Matt.
All right, yeah, very interesting stuff there, and a story we've been following really closely. Something I have been watching very closely ever since I found out about it is a newer, low-cost entrant in the EV race. And I think most
This is a
interestingly, it's
little
being backed by
small
billionaire
continuation here
Jeff
for gold.
Bezos. It's called Slate, and it offers a kind of Build-A-Bear style of electric vehicle. It starts as a blank slate, 2-seat pickup truck for about $25,000 before incentives. And then each buyer can add accessories like side stripes, stronger bumpers, infotainment screens. I mean, you can even change the little truck into a 5-seat SUV. So obviously, I care about this. Joining us now is the CEO of Slate Auto, Chris Barman. Chris, great to have you here on the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
I think the excitement around this can't really be overstated. And I guess part of it has to do with the price point. After incentives, it can cost less than $20,000. A lot of people on the internet don't even believe it. They say it's vaporware. Are you really going to come out with a truck at that price?
We've been focused for over 3 years now on designing an affordable vehicle that, as you mentioned, is a platform upon which people can accessorize it. So we took everything out that wasn't a car and wanted to really get back to the basics and then put the power in the hands of the consumer to decide what accessories they wanted to bring back into the vehicle, not only at time of purchase, but based on their budget and based on time. So accessories don't have to be added at the time of purchase. It can be.
Alright, so we got to play in the area right now for gold.
Can take and totally modify the vehicle into what they want it to be.
You know, since affordability is such a big part of the story, I'm wondering how you are preparing for any impact of tariffs. Do you know for certain that it won't impact the cost of the cars?
So we've been very focused on American reindustrialization. So we've selected that.
Had a little bit of a drop there.
Indiana. We want it to be, you know, it's American design, American built. We've been selecting that the parts that go into the vehicle are also very much American made. So we're very well insulated against that, so that as tariffs may fluctuate with time, we want to be able to insulate ourselves against that.
It seems the automotive industry is incestuous. And I mean, you were at Chrysler for a couple of decades before this, but I'm talking about now, right? Jeff Bezos backed Slate.
GDX is pushing down, dollar is pushing up.
That didn't go very well, but
trying to see this aerial hold. 10-minute and 15-minute candle do not look too great. There isn't any real continuation from the area. But let's see.
Do you consider Scout a competitor? But
we're gonna try and go for a little small move here on gold. See what happens.
So we have a number of American innovators who are investors. Jeff is one. The Walter Group has been a big investor for.
It's not looking great so far, but you know gold. 1 second is looking bad, the next second is changed.
We're separate. We really see that we're going into a space that the auto industry isn't in today, and we're making our own partnerships and working within the ecosystem of the supply base so that we can get the best parts that are available and keep the costs affordable.
Who are your competitors, by the way? I mean, who is offering a $25,000 pickup truck?
Yeah, so Matt, the way that we've been thinking about it in the time that we've been working on it is roughly 55 million vehicles are transacted every year. About 15 of those are new, about 40 of those are used. Average cost of a new vehicle is about $50,000, a $900 monthly payment. Average cost of a used vehicle is about $27,000, about a $500 monthly payment. And a recent study came out that said if an individual makes $100,000,
I do want to take a bigger position on this, but we're was that 12 minutes from Trump speaking, so I'm just gonna wait.
Roughly 70%
Just gonna
of
wait.
households and individuals don't make
This might just leave without us, but
really a
it's better to just manage the exposure. I have taken these trades on the copier as well, and on this personal, so we'll see how that does. Shouldn't be too bad.
No, I see it actually kind of differently. I'm wondering if you look at the empire of Jeff Bezos, but also the other backers, as you've been talking about, Slate and Amazon, Slate and Rivian. Do you see any potential for crossover or partnership?
At this point, we do not. We're really working independently on our product and what we can do to bring it to market. Of course, we're always open to talking to anybody on what might be a good partnership, but we are singularly
Okay, GDX is on the rise.
Safe, reliable, affordable vehicle to market.
I guess the Maverick is one that costs around the same price, right? Ford's small pickup
Dollars
truck would be
dropping.
a competitor. I'm just thinking about who
Looks like this gold move will play out quite nicely.
online complaints has been
Okay, so
range, and I think it's
TP1, yeah,
miles,
guys.
but you can add head on.
Go for TP1 at 65 pips. So that'll be 33.70.
So keeping cost in mind,
Go for TP1 there.
the blank slate, it can be in 150 miles.
We'll see if this actually gives anything more. Hourly candle's gonna close really soon as well. Like if we can get up here, I'll be happy with that. Like that's a decent move.
37 miles a day. So you can get a few days out of the vehicle before you actually have to go back and recharge.
I just want us to move a little bit so that we can go break even before Trump starts speaking.
If somebody needs more, we do offer more with the 240 miles.
That's just what I want.
My buddy Keith Naughton, who covers Ford for us in Detroit, asks if the truck was inspired by the pickup emoji on the iPhone.
I was thinking the same thing. I think
looks
that's
so
such a fun
similar.
question.
How did the designers approach this?
Yeah, we had a number of inputs, and we have a
Nice.
fantastic design team. I mean, the creativity. That
Move
they
looks
brought
decent
into
so
the
far,
vehicle
doesn't it,
and the
guys?
fact that, you know, they stepped away from what most designers do of saying, don't change the design. They've leaned in.
New
and
5-minute
said, "We
candle.
want people to
Let's see.
modify the vehicle." And they took inspiration from a number of areas. A lot of it went back to those trucks of the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Back in the more basic format of what they look like, but wanted to have a little bit of fun and a little bit of personality. And so we hope that's what you see. We talked a lot about what face do you want to see, what look do you want to see. So when they put the proportions together, they wanted it to look athletic. They wanted
Seconds
it to
time
look
frame is not
stylish,
that great.
even if it is a compact vehicle. And then through the front
We'll
of the
stay with it.
vehicle, they lowered the hood a little bit to give like a little clip to the headlamps. So it looks like it's just giving you a little bit of a stare.
You know I love a good sports car.
Yes.
Anyways, the other question I have for you, given that the Trump administration is so
quite a
focused
drop.
on manufacturing in America, and this is something
I
that
just
you're
really don't like the
focused on as
15-minute candles, man.
what is the
So I don't
roadmap?
like
What are
the
the
15-minute
lessons
candle.
learned in terms of what really needs to happen to make that more possible? Because there are a lot of doubts that this could be done at scale.
Well, and Rivian has had real problems. I mean, they haven't done well.
So our approach
Just
is
keeping my eye on the
simplify
GDX and
vehicle. It will help us on that journey to manufacturing. So where many other vehicles have about 2,500 or more parts that go into the vehicle, our blank slate has about 500.
DXY is dropping, but gold is also coming down right now.
We use composite panels. It allows us to help with that ease of wrapping, but it's also help us save on the capital expense side, where we don't have to invest in a stamping operation. We don't have a paint shop. And through doing that, it's made our footprint for our manufacturing facility about a third of what other automotive manufacturers are. And it allowed us to go in and
This is just a little slight move here, guys. So we're just gonna see how that does.
Within Warsaw, Indiana, was formerly a printing operation.
Guys, if you're watching the stream right now and you haven't liked the stream already, do me a massive favor and like the stream. It does help with the YouTube algorithms. We are looking at this little gold buy right now. We want a little bit of a push up. We're not really getting it, but we're gonna stick with it for now.
I think they're fantastic, but they're expensive and they haven't managed to produce more than.
We're waiting for Trump's speech, which is in 8 minutes. So hopefully we get some movement before Trump wants to, drop some bombs. Figuratively, of course. Figuratively, guys. I don't want no problem with YouTube.
When we come back, we're going to talk about the president and trade this.
I'm just watching GDX right now. It's not really doing much. Looks like gold is holding. One moment it looks like it's holding, the next moment it's pushing up. I'm not adding any more positions to gold just yet. What I don't like about gold so far, if you go to 2 minute, we had the high, low, just create a lower high and a lower low there. So right now the price action that we are getting is bearish. And the dollar doesn't have a direction that it wants to head into right now. It is heading down though. It's about to hit my alert. DXY. There it is. Seven minutes, guys. 7 minutes.
I know it's like your Super Bowl, right?
I can't wait. It's like opening presents in the morning.
All right, it will be exciting.
Nobody covers earnings like Bloomberg. US tech is influencing global markets.
Technology is driving business across Europe.
Companies in Asia are betting on tech. From the beating heart of global finance, economics, and politics, and wherever newsmakers are moving markets, Bloomberg brings you conversations that allow for deep discussions and important insights. What do you think the future is for inflation? Is this new
Let's see what gold wants to do.
Optimistic? What do you think about the things that are outside your control? How does the current fighting?
Gold's so bearish right now.
I'm Francine Lacroix, and this
Look at
is
that
The
minute
Pulse,
candle.
every weekday only on Bloomberg.
I mean, there's nothing we can do now. We'll just stay in the trade, see if we get stopped or not. The main trade for today is gonna be on EU, right? Is EU taking out that low? This is my main trade, really.
This is Bloomberg Open Interest. I'm Matt Miller. Quick check on what's going on in stocks. 25 minutes into the
Stocks
trade.
doing.
We're gaining on the S&P almost 0.5%. The Nasdaq a little bit of a stronger gain, 0.7, as investors are hopeful on chip stocks. In terms of that, though, Nvidia is down about 0.2.
Yeah, Nvidia's down.
That doesn't help. Intel is up. And that really doesn't help much either.
Okay.
Warner Brothers turning around higher, hopes it'll be broken up. Carvana crushing it up 10%. And then the consumer a worry for Molson Coors and Shopify. Shanali?
And we are moments away from President Trump's announcement of a comprehensive trade deal between the U.S. and U.K., as he calls it. Bloomberg's Tyler Kendall at the White House. What do we expect?
Trumpy, let's go.
So while President Trump says it will be comprehensive, we are expecting it to be limited in scope. The Treasury Secretary has called these agreements in principle before. And a couple of things to watch out for. While the U.S. and the U.K. have a broadly balanced trade relationship, they do have a VAT and they do have a digital services tax. And our reporting indicates that the latter, the DST, could potentially be changing here as part of any potential agreement. The other thing to watch, whether or not the U.K. pledges to boost agricultural imports. We had the Agriculture Secretary say in an interview this morning that this deal
It looks like gold is probably going to hit stop.
long been a sticking point between the two
In a
countries.
few.
At the end of the day, likely that 10% baseline tariff rate isn't changing, but we're watching to see if the U.S. lowers those sectors.
Let's see what Trump wants to say in a couple of minutes as well. If we hit stop with this, so be it. Hopefully, whatchamacallit,
Yeah, absolutely.
we can get a better move.
That kind of detail. Bloomberg's Tyler Kendall here talking about the U.S., U.K., and a potential deal. We're also watching to see what the EU has to say about tariffs. All of that coming up in the next hour. We'll bring you President Trump's trade.
Do I use protected highs and lows? Tim, explain to me what you mean by protected highs and lows. I do use protected highs and lows, but I don't know how you use them. So what do you mean by protected highs and lows, bro? Would you say 54 and 56 marked up for a buy? 54, 56. What, are you talking about gold? I'm assuming you're talking about gold. Yeah, I mean, for gold, you could buy here. You could do that as well. But Trump is speaking, so make sure you've got stop losses on. And as you guys have seen, the dollar's just stalled waiting for Trump. And we're 2 minutes away, so let's see how that does. I do think like you can buy on gold here. This is a much better entry for gold. Alright, it's a much better entry for gold here. Let's say you go for a buy on gold here. If you want to save for stop, I'd put it beneath this low. So let's say about 100 pip SL. And then target potentially 200 pips. Like I do still see gold going higher. It might not go from the area that, from the 5-minute candle that we're looking at, but it's holding for now. So let's just see how that does. Just gonna wait for Trump. It's Trump time. It's Trump time.
How we came to be, how our Earth came to be, how our universe came to be. from a scientific perspective. Once you leave the Natural History Museum, you go to our National Museum, the Sheikh Zayed National Museum. There you understand the history of this great land, not just the history of the country, but the people of this land that have been a part of this land for over 300,000 years. You get a glimpse of what the past and the present and the future looks like here in the UAE. From there, you maneuver yourself to the Louvre Abu Dhabi, which is a beautiful universal museum. It is universal in its thematic approach. So there, you basically see a part of you on an equal pedestal with the entire world.
Bloomberg Surveillance covers the latest in global markets and the political events that influence your world. Join Jonathan Farrow, Lisa Abramowitz, and Anne-Marie Hordern only on Bloomberg. Context changes everything.
Okay, so the little setup that we had just been stopped out on that.
Argentina, and this is Bloomberg.
We've got a couple more minutes till Trumpet. Tim says, what's the bets Trump screws us? The odds are definitely high, man. The odds are definitely high. I don't use them, bro. I've just been looking into what a protected high and low is. Okay, so protected high and low is understanding, like, let's just say, for example,
President Trump is making an announcement, a trade announcement from the Oval Office.
let me give you an example.
So we will bring that to you. That's supposed to be
Example on protected highs and lows. I need a trend.
And then we'll have some reporting all around that and what it means.
Okay, so let's just look at it like this, right? Let's just say, ignore everything that's happening past this point, right? Protected highs and lows is essentially, in one dimension, how I would explain it is looking at swings. So you got high, low, right? If this is bearish, we're expecting to get a lower high somewhere and then a lower low. So what protected highs and lows are saying is this here is the protected high. As long as market structure is sufficient or remains intact, this high is protected. So let's say you take a short here, you take a short at 60%, whatever it is, you'd put your stop above the protected high. So essentially what you are saying is at some point or at no point should markets push above that high. That's just a very simple way of explaining it. Gold, dollars pushing up. Gold is coming down.
That's a rise of 0.5%.
Let's go back to the main setup for today on EU.
1.8%. It's the third straight year-over-year decline in sales for Peloton.
Bloomberg, show me the Trump speech. I don't really care about all of this.
Actually, not as bad as investors expected. It's exercise equipment sourced from Taiwan, so the tariffs eventually are going to have an impact. Right now, those shares, they are down.
I'm going to try and get the Trump speech up.
Labor productivity falling in the first quarter for the first time in nearly 3 years.
Or maybe I'll get it on
productivity, what businesses pay employees to produce one
Forex
unit
actually,
of
maybe.
output. That jumped the most in a year. You want to get somebody's attention on Wall Street? Just say bonus.
There you go.
Report today from the compensation consultant Johnson Associates says investment bankers, hedge fund employees, and asset and wealth management professionals are all poised to see lower year-end incentive pay this year, and they're blaming the economic turmoil caused by the U.S. trade war and geopolitical tensions. We check the markets for you all day long, right here on Bloomberg Radio. I'm John Tucker. That is your Bloomberg Business Flash, and we are being brought to you by Commonwealth, supporting more than 2,000 independent financial advisors with a 2-to-1 advisor-to-staff ratio. Small firm attentiveness, big advisor impact. Go to commonwealth.com to learn about their consultative support and technology. Alex and Paul.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Happy Free Friday.
I love Monday.com.
Just getting up Trump's speech now.
You don't know Monday.com? This is Monday.com. It's a platform that helps us run our work, collaborate with other departments under.
Is this real? A national emergency. That doesn't look right.
He gave the United States the World Cup. Johnny, thank you very much. I didn't know you were here. That's very good. He's the king of soccer. That's not bad. And you've done a fantastic job. You know, but it's very interesting. When I was president, I got the World Cup, and I got all of the, you know, we have the 250 anniversary, so that fell in this administration. That's a big deal, 250 years. But we have all of these things happening, and I also got the Olympics, and I was called by the mayor of Los Angeles, sir, would you call up the Olympic Committee, because it was at that time President Obama will not take their phone call, and we're going to get the Olympics in Los Angeles. And by the way, they've recommitted to Los Angeles.
I don't know if that's the
It's about
speech.
half of its shoes in Vietnam, but also has third-party manufacturers in China.
And Bloomberg is still
Yes, they're definitely
talking
still-
about some nonsense.
Bigger and better than ever. So I want to let you know that. But I had the Olympics. So I got the Olympics, I got the World Cup, and I said, and the 250, but that one I didn't get. But it was there. It was in this term. And I ran an election, and we did fantastic in 2016. We did much better. Millions and millions, tens of millions, but millions and millions of votes better. And bad things happened, and I didn't get that one. And I said, you know, when I originally signed the Olympics, I said, I won't be able to even be president. And I got the Olympics, because if I didn't, when I spoke with the people, the organizing committee and the people in different parts of the world, they asked me to do it because the president wouldn't do it. I was president-elect, and I gave them a talk. I couldn't get them off the phone. They were starving for love.
This guy
And
loves
the bottom
waffling
line,
sometimes,
they gave us
man.
the Olympics, and I said, you know,
Just
isn't
get
it
to
sad
the
I
good
won't be
bits, man.
president? Then we had the election result, and now I'm president for the Olympics and for the World Cup. So I'm very happy about that, Johnny. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'll be there. I promise I'll be there.
And by the way, Mr. President, backstage you have a gift from Johnny. He gave us the first ball with your name, which will be played for the World Cup
That's great.
in America.
It's going to be great. Thank you, Johnny, very much.
I doubt that any day you will take a sabbatical year, but if you could take a sabbatical year, Mr. President, what unconventional thing would you do?
What was the word?
Sabbatical. You
Oh,
don't work for
sabbatical.
1
I
year.
thought you said Sabbath. It's a big difference. It's almost the opposite when you think about it, right? I think what I do is, look, what I'm doing now.
Let's
is the
see
most
what E wants to
exciting
do,
job in the
guys, man.
world.
I do
It's a
want to
hard
trade
job,
today.
not an
I
easy
do want
job. It's
a
nasty
trade
job.
today.
It could
Right
be a lot
now,
easier
also for
with,
gold,
you know, I think that the
right?
news media
Essentially,
has to straighten
in
themselves
this
out
hour,
because
we've
people
taken out the
get it,
prior
you know, they're
hour's
losing
low.
tremendous
Right, if we close
popularity,
this
and they've
hour
lost their prestige,
bullish,
and they've
right,
lost
like
their
a strong,
credibility.
full-bodied bullish
And,
candle,
I think
we
it's a
may
very
even engulf
important
this
thing,
high,
the
but
news
let's just say
media,
we
but I think
don't.
they
I
have
would
to
prefer we
straighten
don't.
themselves out
I would look for a
because the
pullback and then
people
go
are
long
going
and gold
around
again.
them now. They have so
Yep.
many different things with like Elon with X.
But
which
it's
is
all
a big-
dependent on
a
how
big
this hour
thing,
candle is
and we
going to
have Truth,
close.
which has been fantastic.
I would
and we have
buy
so
gold
many
again.
other things that you don't really need traditional.
I think this picture of
But,
what we've had so far
I
is
will tell
not
you
bad at
that
all.
there is just nothing I could do to enjoy my life, whether it's that or anything else that you'd ask, because this is the ultimate. I mean, I had to make a big decision, and it was a very risky decision, because if I would have lost, my life would have been a much different life. It would have been a very nasty life. They were going after me at levels that nobody's ever seen before. Not Andrew Jackson, not Abraham Lincoln. You know, the historians say that the president that was treated the worst by far by the media and overall was Andrew Jackson. In fact, his wife died of heartbreak. They were treated really rough. And Abraham Lincoln was second, but he had a civil war. You know, you can understand that. But nobody was treated like me. Nobody. And I will tell
Sky.
you, you learn a lot about yourself. But
Is
there's
this even the
nothing-
right stream? What about this?
Are you suffering from a wound on your lower leg that has been open for months and just won't heal properly? Then you probably know it's a leg ulcer. The wound simply doesn't heal despite
US-UK trade
Thank you,
deal.
Mr. Chairman. Senator Reid. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Director. As you're well aware, Doge is going through and seizing
Sky News.
So, has more details for you of what we think might be in the agreement. Take a look.
I understand that at the heart of this deal from the UK side has been an attempt to lower those swinging tariffs, particularly on steel and the car industry above all. Now, in order to do that, it's had to make some concessions. My understanding is that those concessions are around agricultural trade, food and animal produce that's imported to the UK from America. The terms of that trade will change. Now, of course, we're waiting for the details. I'm told by a government source there will be wins for British
Apparently,
farmers.
4
So they didn't
p.m.
elaborate on what those were. So
Starmer's holding a news a statement. I think this stream here is fake, you know.
£66 billion. Those are the ones, of course, subject now to those blanket tariffs. Worth remembering.
Oh, look at gold. Now gold wants to push.
With the US, there it is. Services
That looks much better.
valuable. £137 billion of services, professional, legal, banking, and the like that we send to the US. But it's the blue portion here, the goods that attract the tariffs, and that's what this deal has largely been about. Let's spell out the tariffs for you. 25% on steel and aluminium on a whim from Donald Trump. Likewise, that 25% on cars. A 10% tariff across all UK goods, and that's a global tariff at the moment. Put this in here, 0% on pharmaceuticals. Worth watching. It's a hugely important export market for the UK. Pharmaceuticals are on notice. There could be tariffs to come. I'm interested to see if there's anything there. But let's just focus on cars for a moment. That 25%. Why does it matter? This is why it matters. This is UK car exports by country. The US comfortably the largest single country export market, £9 billion. That's 1 in 4 of every car exported from the UK, more than double China, and 4 times the largest European partners here. Just by way
Okay.
of contrast, worth looking at what's coming.
So, like I was saying, the hourly candle.
US cars coming into the
This is a really nice bullish hourly candle so far. I would buy gold again. I would definitely buy gold again. The only thing is, I would like to see at least a half-hour finished printing.
Digital services tax, not strictly a tariff, but it affects US tech companies. That might be.
I'm gonna keep my eye on gold. Could get a little buy here.
If I show you pork and chicken, these pounds by volume cost, that's effectively a tariff, a quota tariff to pay by volume if you want to import it. Beef, 12% tariff plus a tariff quota. All of those are designed to protect the domestic industry from cheaper imports, but those tariffs might well be.
Every week, I get hours back while working less. My secret? An AI tool that plans my
sources is the regulations and standards that govern agriculture. US beef, typically hormone treated. You can't do that in the UK. That is not about to go. Chicken, we heard about chlorinated chicken, a very great deal through the Brexit years. Again, not in play. One reason is because while the UK might be considering lowering these tariffs for the US, at the same time, it's trying to reset relations with the European Union so that these goods can be traded across the border with less friction. Well, if we're letting in American standard food and drink, we simply can't do that deal. So the real win here, there might be some gives for agriculture. But if the UK can also proceed with that deal with the European Union, then it really will be a win.
Stock market is dropping.
Let's go back to David Blevins at the White
Could be a buy on that later.
Has repeatedly and consistently highlighted, hasn't he, that 80 countries around the world want deals with.
Where does bourbon come from? And I was unsure.
To reach this agreement, and he'll use the Oval Office to celebrate this.
Yes, he really needed this. It is 1 month and 1 week since that day when he stood in the Rose Garden here at the White House with his show and tell boards imposing those sweeping tariffs on countries around the world. And there's been a growing sense of frustration among his administration about the fact that they've not managed to get a trade deal across the line. We've heard from the president repeatedly. We've heard from his press secretary, Caroline Levitt. She claimed there were 18 proposals on the table, and he needed this because he's having difficulties elsewhere. As I said a moment ago, there is no end to the war in Ukraine. There is far from a ceasefire in the Middle East. In fact, there is more war than peace. Trade. There are lots of questions right now.
I'm literally trying to find a solid stream right now.
There is this 10% baseline tariff on all goods coming from the UK, 25. as you've just heard from Paul, on certain items like steel, aluminium,
Okay, they're gonna go live shortly, guys.
the UK's biggest export to the US, £9 billion worth last year alone. So lots of questions about whether or not they're going to reduce that tariff on cars, for example, or impose some sort of
I'm gonna turn up the audio on it for you.
coming in, and then more questions about to what extent the UK might have compromised. Some suggestions that it's compromised on agriculture. But Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor in Washington a couple of weeks ago, said they wouldn't be reducing any food standards. Of course, if they have done that, that's going to cause them a problem in their negotiations, their post-Brexit negotiations with the EU. So lots of questions, but no answers. We're expecting the answers to some extent, I suppose, in about 15 minutes' time. We're told this is delayed until about past. I can tell you that there is no sentry from the Marine Corps standing outside the West Wing right now. That's rather unusual, and it means the President is not in the Oval Office right now. We're not sure what's causing the delay, but we know when he does get there, he intends to speak to Prime Minister Starmer on the phone. He intends to then address the media and take some questions. A big deal on a big day for a big relationship between the US and the UK, and it is hugely symbolic in terms of that special relationship. But we're going to have to wait a little while, and as I talk to you, the sentry has just arrived. So that means the President of the United States has now arrived in the Oval Office. So we're a little closer to finding out what exactly has been agreed between the United States and the United Kingdom.
David, I wonder if we just spend a bit of time talking about the theatre of what we might see in the next few minutes. You know, the fact that this day and this deal comes on VE Day, which President Donald Trump has personally and recently declared Victory Day in the US. He also has such a fondness, doesn't he, for the United Kingdom. This will all feed to music to his ears, really. So I just wonder what we might see play out.
Well, he has already online this morning spoken about the special relationship, the allegiances, as he put it, between the United States and the United Kingdom. We saw when Keir Starmer visited the Oval Office a few weeks ago how charmed the President was by that unprecedented invitation from the King to pay a second state visit to the United Kingdom. He's spoken since about the fact that he loves King Charles and that he loved Queen Elizabeth. He definitely has a fascination with the United Kingdom, and that's why he's describing it as an honour that the first trade deal post-tariffs has been done with the United Kingdom. And he will choreograph it very carefully because, of course, he is a presentation kind of person. He has given more access to the media during his time in the White House than any of his predecessors in recent years. He takes endless amounts of questions. We've heard him, those events going on for up to 90 minutes, even 2 hours, when he invited the media in to his cabinet meeting. And we're told this afternoon that what will happen is that there will be a telephone call between the President and his counterpart, Sir Keir Starmer, that the media will then make their way into the Oval Office, where he will make some sort of announcement. Now, earlier we saw someone carrying in a box of items which we suspect may be items which come from the UK to the US. He did that last week when he was announcing an investment, had some items on shelves behind him. Perhaps we're going to see a repeat of that. And then once he's finished his press conference, we understand we're going to hear from the Prime Minister. So certainly they want to make sure the theatre is done
okay, guys,
to the
still
best
waiting.
effect for both countries, because
I'm
it's
not
a
gonna
symbolic
lie.
day for both, of course.
Absolutely.
I don't know
David,
when
stay
Trump's
where
going to
you
come
are,
out and
we
give
will
us
come back to you,
what he's going to say.
throughout the next 10 minutes.
But for
or
now,
so.
I'm going to end the
Donald
stream
Trump,
there.
he has posted on Truth
You guys
Socials
can
this
watch
afternoon. This is what he
the...
had to say. The agreement with the United Kingdom is a full and comprehensive one that will cement the relationship between the United States and the United Kingdom for many years to come. Because
For
of our
many years to
long
come.
time,
This is going to be a
history
big one.
and
It's going to be a big one
allegiance
for sure.
together,
It's going to be a big one. We took a little long on gold. It didn't play out. Again, I'm still going to wait for how this hourly candle is going to close. If we close a pretty bullish candle, I'm going to take another buy on gold. Okay, so bear that in mind. I might send out the buy as well on the Discord. Guys, if you haven't liked the stream already, don't forget to leave a like. If you've got any questions, you can ask the questions inside of the Discord. I'll also update you guys inside the Discord as well. I've been sat here for 2.5 hours. I need to get up and walk around for a bit. Alright, money day, guys. I'll see you in the Discord. Peace.